Hi, this is FC2 interviewing Jeyeta from our own college. She's a passer and she has her own brand named May. So, Jeyeta, first question. When did your idea to come up with your own brand?
Well, it was the reason I joined this college. It was always there. That's the whole point, I think, for me. If I'm going to be a designer, then I would like to come up with my own collection and do my own work and be my own boss.
What inspires you to work for May and what are your ideas towards it?
Street people,
Mm-hmm.
India majorly. I love how the beggars dress over here. I think they're more fashionable than a lot of the models that you see or the, you know, fashion shows.
Mm-hmm.
I love how they combine. It's like the jugaad system in India, right? So
Mhm.
you find anything and you put it together, and you make it work,
Yeah.
and that's what they do. So that.
So, you're basically inspired by the everyday person in India.
Yes.
And what does your brand exactly focus on?
It focuses on loving yourself. It focuses on being yourself, loving yourself for who you really are.
Is that the reason why your brand is named May?
Yeah, that's the whole concept of it.
Okay.
And to find yourself within the clothing. It's not the clothing that defines you, it's you that defines the clothing. That's what we are told fashion, what you wear
Is
shows
what you are.
is what you are.
Mhm.
It shouldn't be that way. It's who you are that shows.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of clientele do you have right now?
Right now, I have it's sort of like a mix, you could say. I don't really have just one sort of clientele. It's a lot of people from Goa.
Mm-hmm.
I have few clients in Germany and a few in Delhi as well, but it's usually the Firangs in India that tend to really like the collection and
Because it is very indie.
exactly. It's I think it captures India in a way that I see India, and it's similar to how they see India. So, and also it's comfortable.
Mhm.
It's easy to wear. It's something that you can cope up in the heat in India. So,
Exactly. My next question is that India is a very tropical country and the seasonal changes are extremes. There's winter, it's an extreme. There's summer, the extreme. So what kind of materials do you use, keeping in mind the climate around us?
I majorly work with cotton.
Only cotton.
Majorly cotton.
Okay.
Because of it being a natural
Mm-hmm.
fiber and you feel comfortable in it.
Mhm.
Comfort is my number one thing. I think it's important to be comfortable in your skin, so it's important to be comfortable in your clothes.
So, what according to you, if you had to define a mere woman, someone dressed in your brand, someone who you think, okay, this woman, she's wearing this, I could count her as a part of my brand. Who do you think that would be ideally?
Like a celebrity
No, no, no.
just
Your own thinking.
she's a confident woman who doesn't need her clothes to define her as such.
Mhm.
She can pull off anything she likes
Mhm.
because she's comfortable in her own skin. She loves herself. She works. She takes care of the home. She takes care of herself and has enough time for herself as well.
Mhm.
And she loves life.
Okay, so basically, this is a strong, independent woman
Yeah.
who's coping up with the world
Yes.
and still concentrating on her own self.
Yes.
Okay. So talk about your life in IIM. How was it and how it's affected your brand?
Um, there was a major reason why I chose IIM and not any other college. Like I was getting a scholarship at Pearl, and then so I went to Chennai to the Jaipur one and the Delhi one, and I didn't really feel connected. I think it's important to feel connected to the place, and so this was a new area where I felt that I could push as much as I like. That there's no boundary over here. It's not this is the syllabus and that is what we will do. We will not do anything more than that.
So basically, you felt more comfortable and you felt that there were lesser boundaries out here, so you could expand yourself.
Yeah, and that's what fashion is about not having the boundaries.
But what is your personal style? Is it a part of me or it's something different or is it really just the same thing?
Part of it is men, But I think once you are creating a brand, you're sort of limited in some ways
Because
because
you have to think of other people.
exactly, and also you have to think about, see, one person, you could be happy at one time and feel in a certain zone and want to wear a certain kind of clothes, but you could be like really sad or angry or whatever. So you tend to dress up different at that point in time. But I can't put that into this at the moment. So now I have sort of three lines. One is the Main Indian, which is the current collection, which is going pretty okay for now, where it's the comfortable clothing. Now I'm coming up with a collection for college girls, which is going to be, because in college I was like that, and now I feel like I think it's part of growing up where you sort of stabilize a bit. So I want to bring back the college side of me, which was very gothic, which was very crazy at times, like shaving off your head at times, or I had this point where my foot was like filled with pajabs, or this like a funkier side, which just said I don't really give. So you go ahead, judge me. It doesn't really matter to me. So that's the college fun side. And then I'm working with a third one, which is a lot more mature than these two, where I'm working with artisans in Kutch, and they're developing fabric for me at this moment as well. And I'll be sort of helping them out, putting their work in front through me.
Okay, now that you've spoken about all this, what I was thinking was, Meg, you're talking about your brand is sort of very everyday.
Right.
It is very
Fashion.
comfortable. It is very, but is it also a luxury brand in any case, or can someone wear it to an event, a formal event, and feel, oh my God, this is really me?
That's the whole point about when I said she's comfortable in her own skin. It's an everyday wear. I don't want to be considered in the whole luxury brand because I'm not fascinated with fashion because of glamour. I actually really don't like it much. The whole glamorous part, I find it fake, and I believe in sort of finding more of yourself. And so you could wear this to an event, you could wear it to a show, just because you're comfortable in it.
And you have your own personality to walk it through.
Exactly.
So what is your message to the future kids who might enroll in IIM or who already are in IIM?
I'd say explore yourself. This is the place to explore yourself.
No limitations, no boundaries.
No limitations, no boundaries. Explore yourself, because once you explore yourself, only then do you know what you're good at, what you're bad at, your strengths, your weaknesses, and don't be afraid to be judged. It's okay. People want to talk. Let them talk.
I think that's about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you started off the brand, how was it? Like, how was the experience of getting your first clients, and how was it tough? How did you cope with that?
That's interesting question. I would say I'm still starting it off. I think 10 years down the line, I would still say I'm still starting it off, because there's no limit that I've set to it.
Because it's gone to Germany and Goa
Right.
and different places, so
I
How do
think
you
the hardest,
also relate to your clientele? Like, how do you reach out to them?
right? I think the hardest part is to really put yourself out there. When I was in college, I'm not a very, okay, let's go talk to someone new. It's more just me, my world, someone comes talk, it's good. I'm not a very open person in that sense. So I think that was the hardest part, to be open, because until you're open, people will not know what you're doing. So I created my page, just named Jeyeta. And I put up all the work that I've done, because I realized I've done a lot of stuff, but I don't know how to really put it out there, saying, okay, this is this is me, this is what I do, and this is what I dress like. And so I started off with my page. Then I went ahead and I created the Main page. Then it was sort of, I started in college, the whole working on the collection. We went for our craft documentation to Kutch, and
so was that where you got your vendor, like artisans?
Yes.
Also from?
Yes.
That was my next question. Like, how did you get in
Yes,
touch with
that's
them?
it's a very long process. It's a very slow process. It was never intentional. I think it just sort of. I think when you love what you do, yeah, exactly. It just everything just sort of comes into its place. Yeah. And initially I started it off with another friend of mine, and she realized that she doesn't really like designing. So then it kind of was a huge thing just to do this by myself. And then I went ahead and I put myself out there. I think you feel the most vulnerable when you put yourself out there. But the important part is not to be, not to be like, not to not to be scared of a failure. I think that was my biggest learning. It's okay, just put yourself out. Even if it's not the best that you could, because I don't think there's any point when I feel like, oh, this is the best work I've done. Every work that I do, I feel like there's this. There's so many things missing in it. There's so many things that I could have done better. But you just sort of put yourself out there and you see what people, sort of respond to it, and you get better as you go along.
So is putting yourself out there worth the risk? Like, is it
For sure, 100%. Yeah.
And the definition that you gave as a man woman,
Right.
is it that if people wear your clothes, do they feel so? Like, are you trying to get it through your clothes into
Yes.
people?
Yes.
So that
That's
So that you feel empowered?
confident.
Yes.
Okay.
What are your future plans?
Future plans are to, well, right now I'm retailing in Goa. Talks are in with Delhi as well, and to go international. I don't really have like a limitation, but I do have a
What's your
like a
what's your
set
next
goal.
5-year plan for it?
Next 5-year plan is
Expand.
expand for sure. But
Are you
it's
going to expand only in India first, and then go?
Yeah. That's what I want to do. Yeah. For me, since I've not been here for too long, I think India has huge potential and it has a huge market. So to really work with this, but then my clothing doesn't really work with the mass. So I think it's more for some for tourists, some for the people actually living here.
And tell us something about your life before I am like your background. Something.
My background, okay,
Where are
well,
you from?
I'm from Haryana,
Okay.
and I was born in Gujarat. And I think when I was around 1, we moved to Africa in Nigeria, and then I came back to India, lived here in Panipat, lived here in Delhi. Then I went to Bangladesh, lived there for 4 years in Dhaka. That's where I, started my like speaking more in English and really like, because you start to be, you're put into a completely different country. You don't speak the language, you don't know anybody, and you have to sort of get to know people. And then moved to Sweden. I lived in a very small town in Sweden named Älmhult and lived there for around 4 years. Didn't have any friends for the first 2 years because I didn't speak the language. And when you're a teenager, like 15, 16, and you are put into this place where, again, you don't understand the language. Bangla was still similar to this. Here I was in this school and suddenly I have to trust this guy who I'm with to show me where the changing room is for the girls because it's my gym class and everything is in Swedish, and I'm just like, and he's like, oh, I don't really know where the changing room is for girls. The guys is here, so bye. You just take care of it yourself. And I was just lost. And
So did that help you find yourself like?
Yeah, it did. I think
the
Sweden.
process of
Yeah, because exactly.
those 2 years.
Yeah, those I think 4 years I'd consider that. Yeah, because it was just this whole time just for myself. And over there I used to wear the fashion was to wear skinny jeans, and I used to wear these red bell bottoms with Jodhpuri print on them. And I'd be like, I'm Indian, and this is why I dress like this. So I loved sequences that time, and I would wear bangles, and it was just really promoting India as much as I could. And so people would be like, do you guys like go to school on your camel? It's like, and what? No, we don't. And then so like over there, I think I really explored fashion where I had this time when I was really into rock, and you would only see me in black with like dark eyes, and my hair was long and curly and just sort of tied up, and I would not talk to anybody, and skulls, and yeah, it was just gothic. And but that's not exactly gothic, it's more like punk.
Emo?
I had my emo phase too, yes. Then I was really into hip hop suddenly. So I think like yes, and so really like baggy trousers with really short and tight tops, and yeah, so explored that side and really into dancing, and I was teaching Bollywood dance over there as well for a bit to my classmates as well. Then came to China. Then I lived there in Shanghai for a year. I think that's when I really understood how to balance things. In Bangladesh, I was this nerdy. I've always been nerdy, but it's like like really focused into my own thing. So when I was in Bangladesh, it was all about studying and good grades, and I didn't care about anything else. Like friends, no friends, I didn't care. I didn't. So you sort of like learn to sort of live by yourself. And then when I was in Sweden, I was almost failing because I didn't care, at all about my grades. The great thing about this was that I could choose who I wanted to be wherever I went next. So then in Sweden, it was just, hanging out. And over there, it was like sunny till midnight. So in the summertime, so be on the beach most of the time and really explore a new side to myself. And then came to China and really like learned to balance it. And then I came back to India in my 12th, finished my 12th here. I think it was the hardest to move back home because because I thought this is where I belong. This is my, these are my people. Because everywhere else is like, you don't get it because I'm Indian. You don't get it because you're not Indian. And then when I was here, I realized how like not Indian I am. Mm-hmm. And that was like a slap on my face because I was just like, okay, I thought India was in a certain way. 12 years ago is the image that I had of India. Came back and it was very different India. And it took some time to sort of, to take that in and settle in. And then I started, and then I knew I wanted to go to college here and I want to live here forever.
Jeyeta, you've been globetrotting basically the past 12, 13 years?
Yeah, 12, 13 years, yeah.
And has that been an influence on your brand in any way?
Yes, for sure. That I won't say it's just an influence, it's how I see life in general.
It's changed the way you think and you perceive things.
Yeah. And that a lot of my friends tell me this, that that's the reason, like for example, you see the matka with meh, you see bangles with meh, you see bindi with meh. A lot of Indian designers don't tend to work with India in itself. Mm-hmm. They are more inspired from the West because that's what they find fascinating. I find India more fascinating because I've not really seen this much. We used to come back maybe for like a week in a year. Mm-hmm. So whatever I could grab from here is like a big thing. Like my first fashion show was actually in my 11th grade in Sweden. Last day of school, and I got all my friends together and they modeled for me. I went to the local makeup store and I got them to sponsor the makeup for us. Mm-hmm. And I told them that, I wanted to be very Indian. And I went to the local shoe store and I got the shoe sponsored. And I was working with this girl who was very into Lolita style. I don't know if you guys know, like very Japanese. And so we mixed Lolita with Indian style. So when I came to India, I got like Lakshmi Nagar se chunni ke fabric because that's all I could afford at that time. And we did the pattern making over there, and we stitched the garments, and we got them to wear it, and it was actually really nice. It was fun, and that's when it was sort of to prove to myself that yes, this is where I want to go, and yes, I can do this. And so it's all been like a mix. Everything has been a khichdi here.
Yeah. And like the garments that you make, and if someone is supposed to find something like that in the market, where would you suggest for college girls to go to buy?
I don't exactly
like
where would you go shopping? To your brand, a brand might be similar to yours.
Right.
Who you see is, okay, this is something very, I like the way this brand is going with something very similar to mine also.
Or in other words, where would you go shopping?
I make my own clothes. Usually. That's the thing. After you start making your own clothes, you look at something. I look at Zara and I'll be like, I'm not going to pay this much for this thing. I'll just make it myself. So yeah, I make my clothes like this. This is one of my products. So I make it myself, and but usually the place that I do like going shopping, not for clothes as much, but just jewelry and stuff, is Paharganj. I love Paharganj. I consider that genuine.
I was gonna get to your jewelry. The way you accessorize it. I've seen you in college. and everything. Every time I see you, there's something different, there's something eye-catching.
Mm.
What is your inspiration with accessories and everything?
Street people.
Seriously?
People from Kutch, the beggars.
Mm.
You should see how beautiful they are, you know? Like, even
The Kutch, what do you call them? The people who travel.
Rabaris.
Rabaris, there's some other name. Um, I don't remember the name right now. But even they've got these beautiful trinkets, the silver trinkets,
Yes.
chains and everything,
Yes.
chain marks. And all.
Yes,
So,
beautiful stuff. When I went there, I got a lot of my jewelry from there as well.
okay.
Yeah. I like, I've always liked styling a lot. Like, I've worked with few designers as well. Worked with Tarun Tilyani, worked with Divya Mehta. And they are like, the first time Tarun met me, he makes me stand on this chair and he's like, "You are very relaxo chappal." I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Stand." And I was like, "What? I'm not gonna stand." And then he stood up on the table for me and he's like, "It's okay, let's see what you're wearing." And I was wearing this black sari with a t-shirt, and I had done like this makeup, sort of like some sort of wings over here.
Uh-huh.
And
Got hair?
sorry?
Got hair?
Yes, it sort of mixed, yeah.
Phasing out of it.
Yeah, phasing out of it, yeah. And yeah, he loved it. And the first thing he said was stylist. He's like, "Don't even think about design, stylist." And I was just, stylist? I don't know if I want to style for somebody else and, like really get
Did you
into.
enjoy it?
I did. It was fun. Yeah, but it was more.
But designing is more of your finance, right?
Yes, I think I find it more challenging, so I like it.
How can we find, like, how do we purchase my products? Like,
You can do that from the Facebook page. You can write a message over there. We're going to be retailing in Goa soon. It's just under process. I have to send the stuff as well. That's the reason I've not been able to come
where
from
is
it.
the
It's called Paper
shop
Boat.
in Goa?
Paper Boat.
Paperboard is this other brand. Is it a part of the same thing?
I don't know.
I've
Paper
heard,
boat.
like, people have spoken about the shop, like, because
It's a bungalow. Yeah, it's a bungalow, and the lady has opened up like a not just clothing but like all
Shack.
kinds of, yeah, exactly. So yeah,
Something very similar to bungalow.
so through that, hopefully things like proceed further. Right now, I just have to like ship my stuff over there, and in talks with Delhi retailers. I don't want to disclose it as yet because we're still like not really decided. And in talks with there's this German lady who's very keen on getting this to Germany, but I don't want to move too fast. I don't think it's the right thing to do.
To be true.
Yeah, I don't like that one night fame. I don't believe in that. It's slowly, it's better.
It should grow.
Yes, it should
Slow
grow.
and steady.
I should grow with it.
Mhm.
I need time to sort of like settle with that too. And I've got people working now, so I want like everybody on the same pace. And it's not just about the clothes; it's also about the environment that we're working in. It's got to be comfortable.
So
It's
where do you
just
work? Do you work?
I have a studio on Sona Road, and my machines are also from Rohilla brand.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so Rohillas used to be Darjees like way back, and they make machines as well. So I was so proud, to get the Rohilla machines and yeah. So I keep saying it's in my blood. I can't help it. I'm meant to make clothes.
What do your parents feel about your brand?
They love it now. They were not very supportive of it in the beginning because it's not the ideal thing to just pass out of college and do your own thing. They wanted me to do a job or to yeah. I've done it. I've worked with I've done that exactly. But I just
How did you manage to change their way of thinking? Like, if they're supportive.
I did what I wanted to do. I just said, "Shh, let me do this."
Stop.
Yeah, give me 6 months. That's all I'm asking. And they were just like, "It's not gonna happen in 6 months. What do you think? A business can't just be put together like this." And now I have, retailers, and they were just like, "Okay." So my dad's actually a textile expert. So he's like, "Do you want me to go fabric shopping
That
with
must
you?"
be an influence too, right?
Yes, that has been a huge influence. I, was used to the weaving thing way before maybe the rest of the kids in the class, and always around fabric. Been to so many factories in Bangladesh, and yeah, fabric's always been there. Yeah, even at the house there was a little loom as well. So yeah, I wish it was more of it. And that's something my dad wanted to be a designer. but a textile designer, and he'd explored it. He'd started it. It didn't work out. So that um, the feeling of I couldn't do it. I don't know if my little girl can do it. So I think that was very much there, but it kind of yeah, I didn't really listen to them. They weren't very happy about that, but I think they're
Does he
happy now.
contribute to men in any way, like in his
Or the fabrics.
perception ways? In the
He
technical side, like fabrics and everything. Does he like?
he's only worked with home furnishing fabrics,
Oh, okay.
so he's not very used to the whole clothing. But he's getting inspired to do his own line. Now he wants to do his own fashion line, and he's saying, I'm gonna call it Tu. I was like, okay. So it's I'm like, why don't you call it Hum instead then? So I think it's, and now I've got friends who are also like, they see, okay, so this is what I'm doing, and they want to do something by themselves as well. So like Mare was copied some time back, and I was just shocked. Okay, wow, it's been copied now. Like the same product, exactly the same way,
Yeah.
just
They're
done
all
in just done in a different way. And everyone just said, "What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it?" And I was like, I'm just starting off. I can like mess up right now as much as I like. So I put it up on my page saying, "Oh, it's alright. Go through the rest of the page. You can copy because we innovate and create, and you guys can copy. It's fine because that's what fashion is about."
How did you use criticism?
Um,
Or you tend to ignore it?
no, I don't ignore it. I look like I do, but I don't.
Okay.
I listen to it. I think there are steps that you go through in the beginning is denial, and then when you see it sort of reflecting in your work, or when you see it, okay, that this is not really working out, and maybe they are right, then I would like to improve on it. And then I go back to that person and I have a talk with that person. Okay, exactly what is it that you thought?
So you basically work on your failures.
Yes, I think that's the whole point.
Okay.
I do work on my failures, but I focus more on my strengths. Because I think the more you keep focusing on your failure, you keep feeling down and down and down. Instead, you keep them at like a moderate level, and you focus more on your strengths, and you make them even stronger.
What are your spring-summer trends?
Spring summer trends are working with cream and sort of mixing like a lot of, because it's cream and white. Sort of summer is too hot for like dark colors, I feel, so light colors, and mix them up with like pastels. I would, if you're not working with the white and off whites, then yeah, you could work with pastels, but it's more white, off white, and like a look like the zing of color somewhere in you. You point that, look at your best point. It could be your eyes, it could be your lips, it could be your ears, and you really,
A lot of color.
yeah, and you just put so much color that the parts that you want to hide, no one would even notice them.
How did Meh as a word strike you?
I was in this room that time actually. I was sitting here and my friend was sitting there, and we were. And whose class was it? It was one of our faculty's class, and we were. I keep a logbook. I really believe in writing down everything that you are working on and everything that you think of. And so I have my personal diary, I have my work diary, and I have my inspiration logbook. And I was writing down, and I was like, okay, so what should be the name of the brand? And I pass it on to her, and she was writing, down in it. And she's like, I don't know. And then she was like, maybe we could. She was coming up with comfortable or something, and I was like, but मैं आज हूँ, I don't. And I was like, how about just मैं? It doesn't have, or aaj sounds like aaj tak, or yeah. So I didn't want to go that side, so it's like मैं, just simple मैं. And then went home, and actually not even like while I was in the class, just sort of scribbled and did the logo, and I was like Bindi.
Yeah,
Put it here, Bindi, yes. And I knew I wanted it to be this particular red and the logo for it to be.
So is that your signature?
Yeah, is that
Over Hindi?
Yes.
no.
Yeah, it is very much there. It's a big. I had when I was in college, I used to put like, I think I'm gonna start get more into it. It was green sindoor for when I was single, yellow sindoor for when I was sort of it was complicated. Don't really know where it stands. Because the red is when you're married, it's like done, right? Stop. You can't,
So does this symbolize something then?
What
As to what you're wearing, yeah.
This is more. This is more for, I think, life. Yeah. This. Yeah. It's more for really not being scared of just who you are. I think a lot of people, it was a huge journey just to figure out who I am as a person, and a lot of times you don't want to accept the person that you are because you're too scared to judge yourself. I think more than anybody else, you sort of judge yourself for who you are, and I don't see what's wrong with having negative stuff in you. You might consider that negative, you can always turn that into a positive. Anything else?
So don't think so.
Great, thank you.